Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, everyone. I hope you're well. This is me, Nadeem Ashraf. This is another Aira live dawah show coming from Facebook, coming from the offices of Aira in downtown, or you could say northwest London. And today we have Brother Suboor. Assalamu alaikum wa
Wa
rahmatullah.
alaikum salam.
How you doing, bro?
Alhamdulillah.
Good to see you, bro. So, brothers and sisters, as usual, this is actually a very important part of the segment of the show. I'm going to ask everyone that's tuned in. I'm guessing there's 20 to 30 plus, inshallah, viewers right now. We need to really build this audience because you will get the reward, inshallah. And some of the topics that we will talk about today, the whole world, all the countries, all the continents, they all need to hear this, inshallah. So, brothers and sisters, before I go on to the topics and what we're going to talk about today, what we're going to discuss, inshallah, I just want everyone, literally everyone, to do the most simplest thing, which is to share this. Use the share button. It'll only take a bit of your thought pattern and your thumb or finger, and that's it. Just for a click of a finger, and we can share this, inshallah. So, brothers and sisters, please share this far and wide, inshallah. If you can share this on Facebook, if any brothers and sisters are admins of any pages, please share this to your pages so more viewers can benefit, inshallah. If you have Twitter, you could tweet this. Yeah, you can use the ira.org or you can use Twitter. What's the IRA Twitter, bro? It's ira.org. Okay, mashallah. At ira.org. Well, there's no dot there. Okay. At ira.org. And if you have Instagram, share it Instagram. And again, there's many other forums, Snapchat if you want to. You can call people, inshallah. Why not? I'll give you a few seconds. You won't miss this. If you do miss anything, because it's Facebook Live, you can always come and check it back later, inshallah. The other thing, brothers and sisters, before we start, is check your intentions. The niyyah is very, very important. We have to check our intentions, inshallah. But those of you who are viewing this, think about why you're viewing this. Think about, you're going to use this to call people to Allah. If you can take notes, note taking is a very important thing, unless you have super amazing brains and you have a lot of amazing mental notes. Bro, do you take a lot of notes usually when you're attending webinars?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Brother Suboor, mashallah, has been in dawah for, 20 years? 40 years?
Haven't been alive that long, but
No, that's
possible.
me actually, yes, subhanAllah. But all these times in the dawah, you've always gone to different seminars and webinars and dawah training.
You always have to improve, and one of the things which is very important is to realize that this knowledge which we are imparting today this is something which we got ourselves many years ago from other people involved in dawah. And if you were to try and acquire this knowledge by yourself, or if we were to try and acquire it by ourselves, it would have taken us such a long time. So what we're sharing is actually something which is like a recipe, something which is passed down from generations, short, snappy, to the point. And if you miss out this information and then you try and look for it on the net or try and learn it somewhere else, it's going to take you a lot longer. So make sure that while you're watching, you pay attention and you get your intention straight. You want to use this in the right way, and make sure you take plenty of notes. So,
brothers and sisters who are watching, take notes. In fact, I'm going to go quiet for just 2 seconds. Grab a notepad. If you haven't got a notepad around your desk, smartphones have a notes section in there. No excuse now, brothers and sisters. Get your notes out and just do that to the camera. I know you're seeing me, I can't see you, but I think I can feel it. I'm a teacher, I get intuition, these kind of things, brother. So, no black, let's take notes, inshallah, yeah? So, once you got a notebook or phone out, just do this. Okay, brothers and sisters, we're going to start the show, inshallah, officially. Bismillah. What we want to do today is, we're going to just wrap up the fitra argument which you touched upon last week. It was you and I guess Brother Imran Hussain. They discussed the fifth argument, so we'll just summarize. It's good to summarize the last arguments. If you have any questions to do with the last show, you can ask in the comment section, and our specialist commenting brothers here, he'll give us the questions, inshallah. We will also discuss, it's called the Cosmos argument, or
cosmological argument,
cosmological
the Quranic argument. It has many different names.
Okay.
But it's the argument from the existence of the universe to the existence of God.
Okay, that's the second topic.
Yeah.
And thirdly, there's an exciting new campaign. We kind of touched upon it.
Well, we're wearing shirts. So.
We're wearing shirts. But yeah, brothers, that's the other thing I forgot. What do you think about shirts? I mean, wow, look at that beautiful color, the design, alhamdulillah. So we will discuss this. They're probably looking at this and thinking, what's this about? I mean, I know you're talking about this stuff, but look at these t-shirts. No God, no good. What's going on? So inshallah, that will come soon later. So what that means, brothers and sisters, that you're going to tune in and stay with us throughout the whole show, inshallah. Yeah, the whole 7 hours. No, I'm joking. We're only gonna. It's not a long show, inshallah. 30, 40 minutes, 45 minutes,
Less than that,
inshallah. Yeah. Okay, brothers and sisters. So you've all shared. You've got your notebooks ready. We're going to go straight into it. So Suboor, the fitra argument. If you could just give a nice, quick summary, so it crystallizes in their people's minds, and so that they can use this argument in the dawah, inshallah, on a practical level.
So to begin off with, it's very important that whenever we are making a case for Islam or any aspect of Islam, we always go back to the Quran, the Book of Allah, and we look at what it actually has to say. Now, in Islam, we don't believe we need to prove the existence of God. The existence of God is something within the human beings. In the Quran, Allah says, "Can there be any doubt about Allah, the creator of heavens and earth, the heavens and the earth?" Now, what's very important to realize is this. We live in a society today where sometimes people say, "I don't believe in God." And the person who says that, the people who want to try and convince him, they give him positive arguments for the existence of God. And I think this is an incorrect thing to do, because we are assuming that that is the normal position. I'm not sure. When the actual position is that God actually exists. That is the natural position for a human being. In fact, there is a lot of studies done to show that the belief in God is something very natural. Interestingly enough, these studies, they're done on children, and they're done sometimes by people who are outright atheists. They don't believe in God, such as Dr. Olivia Petrovich. And what these studies show is that children like to attribute the world to a creator. They don't say this was made by human beings or by chance. And as it mentions in the Quran, I think this is very important. This is where you can come in as well. There may be somebody who's like, "I'm not really sure if God exists," right? Or I don't really believe in God. But as soon as a trial hits that person, as soon as they are in a life or death situation, they've just been told you've been diagnosed with a certain disease, their paradigm changes. They stop putting up all these barriers towards God. And sometimes they instantly start praying to God when they come across these sort of difficulties, even though they may not have prayed all their life, and they may have come from households which are completely religious. And this goes to show that the fitrah is part of the human being.
I'm just going to give you a little example. I don't know if it's relevant, but before that, brothers and sisters, it's another reminder that could you share this as far and wide as possible. I'd also, as an advice, a bit of social media training for you guys, is when you do share it, maybe put a little line next to it, the topic of the show, inshallah, just a little caption, and even tell them to share in brackets something. So rather than just press the share button, slightly extra, I know a few more finger work, just put in there, brothers and sisters, I highly advise you to watch this, or do you want to get involved, watch this, an amazing session taking place right now, something like that, in your tweets, in your sharing, in your Instagramming, in your social media, inshallah. So do that, inshallah. Today's topic, we're just summarizing right now the fitrah argument, and then we'll inshallah discuss the Quranic argument for God's existence, and then we'll introduce our brand new exciting new campaign, inshallah. So Suboor, what I was going to say is the last example you gave about people praying to God when they're in pain and when they're in need of Him. Is this the same as the atheist and sinking ship?
It is basically the same thing.
If you could just narrate that, how does it go?
Okay.
There's no such.
Before I narrate that, it's better to actually narrate a real life story.
Yes.
So a few years ago, I was in central London attending a course, and in the course there's a gentleman who used to be an atheist, and this course was a course to do with Christianity, and most of the people were lapsed Christians. And
you went to a Christian.
Yeah,
course?
We went to a course to try and learn their techniques and whatnot. And what actually happened was, when I was speaking to him, because I was really interested that he's not religious at all. So he actually said to me, he was not elderly, but he's a mature gentleman, middle-aged, slightly older. And what he basically said is this: I grew up in an atheist household.
Right.
My parents were atheists. I myself was an atheist. All my life, I believed there was no God. And a few years ago, he got into a very dire situation. Like, he was absolutely hopeless. And at that moment of darkness, instantly he prayed to God for help. And he says a miracle happened, something unbelievable in his eyes. And because of that miracle, he now believes in God. Because there's something within him that came out, and he believed in God. And he said, I'm not really, he's not Muslim, he's not Christian, he doesn't follow any particular religion. He came to this course because of the way they market it. Never saw him again, only came to the first session.
Okay.
And what was really interesting, and this is a lesson to take away, nobody came up to him when he was in that dire state and say to him, by the way, let me give you a logical argument for the existence of God, and let me show you how to pray to God.
Yeah.
Both of these things were within him. He knew that there was a God, and he knew how to call upon him. And when his prayer was answered, he knew that God answered it. All of these things prove that the fitrah was already within him.
Okay.
And of course his situation was different to sinking on a ship, but it was essentially the same thing, being in a helpless situation. And what this actually does is this. There is a narration of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam which we need to keep in mind, which is, remember frequently that which destroys desires, which is death. And when you remind yourself of death, what happens is your ego, your barriers towards God, your ridicule of religion, and all these sort of things which people sometimes develop in a secular society, these drop down and you become more humble. So the fitrah, when we're using logical arguments, we are trying to awaken what's already inside, and the default position is that there is a God. We're not there to prove the existence of God. That is something which we believe is within the human being, and it comes out in times of
So
need.
you'd advise in the dawah, sort of street dawah or one-to-one or online, the Muslim or the theist, they should always come, they should say, it's the onus on you to prove that God doesn't exist. Is that what you're kind of saying?
Well,
Or you don't use it that way?
yes, but I wouldn't put it in those terms.
Okay.
But that you're absolutely correct in
Okay.
terms of the paradigm.
Okay.
What it's about is about explaining to them, look, the belief in God is something natural, so what makes you not believe in God? And interestingly enough, sometimes they say, well, I don't believe there's a grey man in the sky with a grey beard on a chair. And you can say to them, well, I don't believe that either. I remember Abdul Rahim Green, he was recalling a conversation he had with an atheist. And the atheist, Abdul Rahim, said, what type of God do you not believe in? And he described some very human-like God. And Abdul Rahim said, well, I don't believe in that God either. And that really surprised him. Because one of the reasons why people are actually atheists is because they have the misunderstanding about who God is. They're taught God is a man, he came and died on the cross so that he himself can forgive all the sins and all this, and it's very circular. So sometimes clarifying that misconception as well.
And our new campaign is about
Knowing God and knowing good.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that will come later, brothers and sisters, inshallah. I guess we can do another quick, sharing call, inshallah, brothers and sisters. Share this far and wide. Share it on your Facebook. Share it on any pages you admin. Tweet this. Put it on Instagram. Put a little caption next to it. Call people. Text people. Brothers and sisters, let's get this shared, inshallah. This is the live IRA show, inshallah, live from the IRA offices with Brother Suboor, just 1 or 2 days before Ramadan, Smala. So this is a very good time to take notes and get involved, because Ramadan is the month of Quran, it's the month of Salah, it's the month of worship, but it's also the month of Dawah. It is also the month of Dawah. This is the time when we give Dawah, so inshallah. Okay, so what we'll do, we move on to the topic, inshallah. That's kind of summarize the fitrah argument. You could say fitrah argument? How does that turn it? Okay, alhamdulillah. So brothers, now we will discuss something which is, there's a lot of literature out there. We've, on ira.org and other websites and on our videos, it's been touched before, but there's a lot of brothers and sisters who have not come to this topic before, which is called the Quranic argument for God's existence. How to prove the Quran, how to prove God using the Quranic argument. And you may be surprised that Quran addresses it, talks about this. So Suboor, what is the Quranic argument for God's existence?
Okay, in the Quran, Allah gives us different scenarios.
Right.
Allah says in Surah 2, were they created from nothing? Were they the creators of themselves? Did they create the heavens and the earth? Rather, they are not certain. Now, the thing about arguments for God's existence is the more simpler they are, the more effective they are. However, in today's society, you sometimes need to stretch out what you're trying to say. You're supposed to unpack it a little bit. So if you look at this verse, it's giving you a few scenarios, and we've broken it down in this particular way.
Okay.
So we have this universe, right? And there's different possibilities of where this universe actually came from.
Right.
So we have this universe that exists. So the first option is, can the universe come from nothing? As Allah says, were they created from nothing?
Right.
Now, let's address that.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think something can come from nothing?
Of course not. It's-
So what example would you give? Would someone say, I'll play the devil's advocate. Be like, yeah, sure, yeah, we came from nothing. Yeah, things can come from nothing.
Really? So that's what you're saying?
Say somebody said that. What would you reply to?
It's ridiculous. How can they prove that? It doesn't happen. It's just simply not true.
Yeah.
Okay.
You could give them a simple example like your pocket is empty
Okay. Right.
and there's nothing in that pocket, and you go in your pocket, you move around your hand, you come out and there's a brand new phone. That can't happen.
Right.
Or you have a garage, it's been locked for 100 years, you open the garage after 100 years, there's a pink elephant, right?
Okay.
You know that just doesn't make any sense
no.
because something doesn't come from nothing.
Right.
Now, people may use crazy philosophical language and say, well, this scientific experiment and blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
The reality is basic common sense, basic logic. We know that something cannot come from nothing. Okay?
Yeah.
Secondly, can the universe create itself? Can something create itself?
No, that's impossible.
Yeah. Because it's like saying a mother can give birth to herself,
Okay.
right? Or it's like saying,
Okay.
something, it brought itself into existence before it actually existed, which again doesn't make any sense.
It had to be in existence and
Non-existence at the same time, and then it brought
okay.
itself. So it's really circular. So when we look at the universe, can the universe come from nothing?
Okay.
Doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Can the universe create itself? No.
Okay.
So there's only one option which is logical, which is the universe has a creator.
Okay. Okay.
Now if you look at the universe has a lot of patterns, a lot of laws, a lot of symmetry. So it goes to show that whatever is the cause of the universe, whatever the creator is, must be very knowledgeable, because this universe has set designs, set laws, set patterns, specified complexity, whatever you want to call it. Also, this universe has, if you split an atom,
Yeah.
you have a lot of energy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So the creator of the universe must be very, very powerful.
Okay.
So you can do this sort of conceptual analysis.
Well,
and you-
before we continue, I do want to ask, because what you're saying is making sense to me, but is it making sense to those viewers who are watching
Good
us
point.
right now? So, brothers and sisters, if you have any questions until now, any words you don't understand, any concepts you didn't understand, this is your chance to ask the question. Put it in the comments, and we can address this right now, because this is very important. It's a very important subject. If we don't understand it, if we can't internalize this, then we will not be able to convey this to other people, which is the whole point.
And this is one of the only opportunities you're going to
Yeah.
get where
Yeah.
you can
And
ask
you-
a question to someone live,
Live,
and they're
exactly.
dedicated to answer it to you.
Yeah, so Brother
and it'll
Suboor
help
here-
us understand it further too.
MashaAllah, Brother Suboor has been involved now for, I was joking earlier, not 40 years, but MashaAllah, around...
I've been alive that long.
Yeah,
but
about 6-7 years, bro?
Yeah,
6
something
years.
like this.
Alhamdulillah, street dawah, all of the UK, all of the world, subhanAllah.
Alhamdulillah.
So, brother, MashaAllah, Allah has given him the privilege, given us the privilege to give dawah, to convey his call, and support the prophetic mission. And now, mashallah, we're in 6 continents now, subhanAllah, 6 continents, enabling you to watch us. So here's an opportunity to ask an experienced da'i like Suboor, to ask some questions about this. This is a very powerful argument. We can use this. So any questions about the Quranic argument for God's existence? Do you understand the argument? What he said made sense to me. Yeah, I'm sure it made sense to him because he gave
I
the
hope so.
argument. But does it make sense to you? Can you? I think one of the things that I've noticed in the dawah, maybe you can answer my question, and maybe the brothers and sisters start thinking questions. I'm giving you more time, brothers and sisters. Yeah. What happens is, for example, they listen to you. Maybe they'll read a book. Maybe they'll watch Hamza's videos, his debates, and Sheikh Abdurrahim Green, his videos. Sometimes what happens, we try and copy the words verbatim, like exact words. So when we street dawah, we talk. Sometimes, other brothers, they have different style. They use big words, fancy language, but that kind of thing. How important is it to learn this and not copy the exact same words, and to internalize it and using layman's language? For example, would you agree if you're in, for example, in a university atmosphere, your language would change? But whether you're on the streets in South London or South East UK, or
I like the way you said South London.
yeah, I'm trying to cover it. I'm trying, like I think the way you asked me if you were speaking to a teenager, 15-year-old teenager how would you explain to him
Yeah.
the kind of example? So do you think it's important to know this
Definitely.
and learn it more rather than just taking it word for word?
Absolutely, Nadeem, and you've touched on a very important point, because whenever we convey the message of Islam, we
Yeah.
need to speak to people in their language.
Yeah. Don't be copycats.
Yeah, don't be copycats.
Yes.
And the other thing is that it's horses for courses.
Yes.
For some people, they like that sophisticated language, that philosophical mumbo jumbo. They like that. They like that sort of argumentation. Most people, in my experience, are very simple. Very simple.
Okay.
Just here in the office, we had a brother who accepted Islam,
Okay,
and I remember first one of the brothers was trying to explain to him one of the arguments. It's a little bit complex. Then the argument was broken down to him in a very simple
Very
way.
basic. Simple,
And
stupid.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he got that.
Okay.
He didn't get the more complex one.
Okay.
So people are very, very simple.
Yeah.
The other thing is that what nobody wants to do is speak to a robot. So they learn something, and they're trying to remember a script.
Memorize. Yeah.
And human beings have these intuitions. We can tell if someone's faking it.
Okay.
It's like, excuse me, let me tell you the Quranic argument of God's existence, step one, step two, and it's like kind of like, am I talking to you? Am I talking to something you remembered?
Yeah.
Just be real with people. In fact, you'll notice this, Nadeem, right? When you're talking to somebody, different things impact different people.
Yeah.
For example, there may be some people who are very spiritual, right? So you're not talking to them about a particular argument for God's existence. You're saying
intellectual. You're not going to be academic. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you are going to be academic, but not
too. Yeah.
not using logic too much.
Okay,
You're more
right.
trying to go
Okay.
for the spiritual angle. So I remember I was talking to a guy a few years ago who was very spiritual.
Right.
He was a van driver, truck driver. Looked like a typical
Careful.
yeah. He looked like a typical person who'd read like tabloid newspapers, and you'd expect him to have very negative views of Islam, the sort of person who you'd see at a building site, right? And I remember when I was speaking to him, he said to me something so deep. He said, whenever I look at a tree,
Oh, okay.
it reminds me of
Yeah.
God.
Okay.
And this guy, alhamdulillah, he accepted Islam. He contacted us through the One Reason
MashaAllah.
website, and he is so spiritual. If you try to, and you have to read that, you have to see that this
Yeah,
guy
yeah,
is
yeah.
very spiritual. If you try to give him something a little bit complex or something from a script, he'll just switch off.
This is why initiation is important, which we
Definitely,
covered. Because
definitely,
if there's not much initiation, there's not much rapport and connection, you'll not understand what the person's coming from. Is he intellectual? Is he academia? Is he spiritual like the builder? So alhamdulillah, we can do that. Any questions from anyone? Brother mashallah.
Yeah, we've got one
Brother Saqib here, mashallah.
from Brother Mia, and the question is, how would you prove that God is internal?
How God is?
Eternal.
Internal.
Eternal.
Eternal.
Oh, eternal. Right, okay.
Okay. Now, again, when we go back to the existence of God, we always need to keep in mind something very, very simple. We do not need to prove anything. We do not need to prove the existence of God, and nor do we need to prove that God is eternal.
Okay.
Because this is part of the fitrah. It's part of the, we don't need to prove that God listens to prayers and answers prayers. Just like the example of the guy that we were speaking about earlier. He knew instantly, I'm in trouble, so I need to call out to God.
Okay.
He didn't think to himself, can God hear me? Can God answer my dua? So is God in terms of his names, is he the responder? Is he the all-powerful? Which I think
Again,
God.
we're going towards the campaigning.
Yeah, again, knowing God, knowing.
Welcome back, brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I'm sorry about that. There was a slight technical error, but alhamdulillah, we're back. So again, just a quick sharing message again, inshallah. Just to get all the other processes ready for this. Maybe there was a hikmah behind this. Maybe this will give you time to have some comments, some questions. We touched upon some very deep topics and some hardcore conceptual arguments about the existence of Allah. We touched upon the fitra argument. Now we're discussing the Quranic argument for God's existence with Brother Suboor, experienced da'i, mashallah. So get your questions ready. We're live. This is a live and exclusive show for everyone. So we were just asked, Brother Mia asked the question, is God eternal? And you have a really good example to answer that question.
Yeah. So initially what we spoke about before we went off air
Okay.
is that this is something very natural. It's natural to believe that God is eternal.
Yes.
But we can give some logical arguments to bring out what's already there. Now one of the examples we can actually use is this. I'm in need of, say, $100. Right,
Okay.
and I need that $100.
Why?
I just need it for
Why the wife forgive you?
life-saving medication,
Okay.
whatever, right? So, I ask you, Nadeem, can I have $100?
Forget it,
You
bro.
say,
It's happening. No.
I'll give you 100 rubles. Yeah, you could say, well,
Yeah.
I need to ask permission from my wife,
Yes.
and your wife
Well,
says,
actually, no, not really.
Okay, that's fine.
But I know for the sake of
for
argument.
the sake of argument,
I
right?
don't
You
really
are
need to
live, by
ask
the way,
my
so be
wife
careful
for
what you say.
permission. Yeah.
You might have your missus
She might
watching.
be watching, actually.
She might be watching, yes.
Okay, yeah.
And for your own safety,
Fair
we'll
enough.
move on.
I'll behave myself.
So, say the wife says, well, I need to ask my sister. And the
Okay.
sister says, I need to ask my husband.
Yes.
And the husband says, I need to ask my nephew.
Yeah.
And the nephew says, let me ask my cousin.
And
this goes on and on and
all the way
on
to
and on.
Pakistan, to Jhelum,
To everywhere, right? All the way
Okay.
to wherever.
Meepur.
Yes. Now, what would you actually conclude from that? If everybody said, I cannot help until somebody gives me permission, would I ever get the £100? No, you wouldn't. So,
Yeah.
using the same analogy, we have this universe,
Right.
we have a cause of the universe.
Yes.
Now, somebody could say, where did cause number 1 come from? Cause number 2. Where did this cause come from? Cause 3. Where did this come from? Cause 4.
Okay.
Where did this come from? Cause 5. Cause 7. 8.
And this will go ad
50.
infinitum.
100.
Okay.
Million. If this went on forever,
Yeah.
would there be any
So-
universe? No.
They won't, yeah. And the
So,
fact we're here.
the fact that we're here
Yeah.
proves that
Okay.
the cause has to be uncaused,
Okay.
has to be a first cause. This is what they sometimes refer to as the impossibility of an infinite regress.
Okay.
Forget that language. It's impossible for there
It's
to
absurd.
be
Yeah. Okay.
constant
Alhamdulillah.
causes going
Excellent,
back.
Jazakallah. So, Brother Mia, I hope you we're here to take the answer, inshallah. I also want to make a quick point, brothers and sisters, that all this knowledge that we've been blessed with, privileged with, that we learn from the scholars, from our research, by the fadl of Allah, we're here to convey the call. It's not school. This is not a university where you just take notes and there's an exam. That's it. This is the whole point of this is for you to share this knowledge. Is to convey the call of the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, which is the call of La ilaha illallah. These arguments, these technical arguments you can argue, they need to be practiced. So whether it's online, whether it's street dawah, whether it's your colleges, schools, colleagues at university or work, share these, try these, and you might make mistakes. I'm sure you've done that in the past where you've learned something. Unless you practice it, unless you've tried it, you won't perfect it or finesse it. Would you agree
Yeah,
with that?
definitely. And also, what could happen is somebody could ask you a question which you don't know the answer to, and that will facilitate you learning that topic more in
Yes.
depth. And just to give you a little bit of an incentive on
Okay,
why
yeah,
it is
okay.
very important to learn this,
Yes.
one of the brothers who gives dawah with us in Leicester Square and in Speaker's Corner, he used to be an atheist. And when he was an atheist and he was online, there were some people online on a forum or something like this who were having this debate about God. And arguments just like the one that we just used, somebody posted. He read that and he thought to himself, that makes sense. So he left atheism and became a believer in God purely due to one forum where somebody pasted some of these arguments,
Subhanallah.
who was actually a Christian, was a Muslim,
Okay.
and he then thought to himself, this makes sense, and later
Yeah.
on he became Muslim after some years.
Subhanallah.
But what's very important is he didn't think there was anything logical.
Okay.
And his fitrah was in a way awoken, Allah knows best, by that particular incident. So it's very important. You have no idea. I mean, that guy who shared that post with those arguments, he didn't even articulate them himself. He just took it, copied, paste, boom.
Subhanallah.
Imagine if you actually share that with somebody and they
Yeah.
actually think to themselves, wow, that makes sense. And
Yeah,
they change
yeah,
their life. You
yeah.
never know. And remember, like you mentioned, everything that we're doing to make the to convey the call, which is La ilaha illallah, nothing is worthy of worship except God. And one very important part of that is to remind people of who their creator is, and these sort of arguments, they go very far in that regard.
I think this is what I was saying. We've got to. That's what experience teaches you. All these anecdotes, all these stories. Subhanallah, only when you're out in the dawah field you meet amazing people like that. You mentioned a builder brother, you called him earlier. You met a brother that you say came to the store. He's in the dawah now. He gives dawah in Hyde Park and Leicester Square. So this is amazing. So brothers and sisters, this is again another chance to ask Brother Suboor some questions. Do we have another question before we go to the next topic? Aha, Brother Sakit.
Yeah, Sister Lahul asks, can God meet His creation?
Sister
Lahul.
Can God? What's the question?
Can God meet His creation?
Can God meet His creation? Okay, I'm not sure.
So-
Okay, do you understand the question?
What the best thing to do for this show is, I would recommend, because we have very limited time,
Yes.
we stick to questions about the actual arguments that we're actually giving. Now, this particular question, there's a very valid and easy answer, but
Yes.
we don't want to cover it in this show because that's going to set a precedence. We just want to stick to questions about the existence of God based upon
Yeah.
what we're speaking
But
about.
what I would just quickly add though, do good works, righteous works, work on your ibadah, work on your heart, get to Jannah, you can meet God inshallah. You don't have to Firdaus. That's another answer. I don't know if you're going to say that. So let this be a motivation, incentive. We all want to meet Allah. Of course we want to meet God. And I think there's narrations where one of the biggest, happiest moments of a believer is when he meets his creator.
Yes, definitely.
It's the ultimate happiness. So brothers and sisters, dawah is a way of getting to Jannah inshallah. Being involved in dawah, calling people to Allah is one of the ways, and especially with Ramadan coming up, just 2 days left, one day left, or even some countries maybe 3 days left, subhanAllah. This is the month of Ramadan where there's a month of ibadah, it's a month of tahajjud, of taraweeh, of fasting of course, but it's also a month of dawah, online, offline, and this actually before we go, any more questions or comments? No? Okay.
Can we move up to
But keep
KG?
keeping on your questions, inshallah, comments. Now this will beautifully lead us, which we refer to the new exciting campaign, the t-shirts, the purple or burgundy? What colour is this?
Burgundy.
Burgundy, okay, there you go. And you've probably been curious, what on earth are these guys wearing? What is this logo all about? Inshallah, we're going to talk about this now. Because we touched upon, it's very nice because in the topic we previously discussed the Quranic argument for God's existence, the fifth argument, we kept referencing about knowing Allah. So, what's it all about, bro? What's going on?
It is all in the title. Knowing God is knowing good.
Okay.
Now, what we have in this campaign is we are sharing the names of God.
Subhanallah.
Now, most people, non-Muslims, they do not know that we have this fantastic array of names of God that we use in our supplications. So, for example, God is the forgiver, God is the loving, God is the forbearing, God is the hidden, God is the manifest. And when you start thinking about these names, it is phenomenal. And in fact, if we had this campaign and I was more in tune with using these sort of concepts to speak to non-Muslims, that guy that I spoke to a few years ago, I think it was in 2012, who said, I called out to God and he answered, I would have said to him, Nadeem, do you know one of God's names is the responder? And do you know that you can be somebody who's been a disbeliever all your life? You're not a Muslim, Christian, you're not of the Jewish faith, you don't have any religion, you just happen to call God at one moment. God's name is the responder, and He will respond to you no matter who you are, no matter what sins you've done, and no matter what you ask for, He will respond. And if you think about that, that's so deep. And that's what we want to do. We want to share with people this amazing booklet, No God, No Good, which we have a copy right there.
Sharing, brothers and sisters, inshallah.
And
brothers and sisters.
This booklet has 100 names of God taken from the Quran and the teaching of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. The first, the last, the evident, the hidden. I mean, sometimes you don't feel like, you just want to every now and again just pick it up, flick it open, because Allah's names are so unique. As Allah says in the Quran, the most beautiful names belong to Allah, so call upon Him using those names.
Okay, and the dynamics of the campaign, Suboor, I mean, I'm hearing that you guys are about to embark on a tour.
Inshallah.
What's this tour about?
So
All about?
we want to take this campaign everywhere.
Okay.
There's going to be people involved in this campaign all across the world, inshallah.
Okay.
Like we've done with the previous campaigns, there's going to be people involved, inshallah, from all 6 continents. This is a long-term campaign, and what we're doing is
It's very unique, very different.
yeah, definitely. And
Very
we launched the
different.
campaign last weekend,
Yes.
and tomorrow we are inshallah going to be embarking on a UK tour, and this tour is going to go on for until the end of Ramadan, inshallah. And we want to cover all the hotspots. We're going to go to the north, the south, the east, the west, all the way, I don't want to name the cities right now.
Scotland?
Inshallah.
Ireland?
Yes.
Oh,
Ireland,
mashallah, there you
Scotland,
go.
Cardiff, Wales. It's all going to be there,
Wow,
inshallah.
overseas.
And what we want to do is we want to share the beautiful names of Allah, and we want to show people. Because look, one of the things which I think we should always take into account is people are, they're not always cold and rational. That's a very minority of
Yeah.
people, right? And we sometimes start to think, I need to give someone this proof and that proof and this piece of paper with this writing. No, people are very spiritual. They're looking for,
they're looking
yeah,
around, so
especially in
that's
the
it.
world of excessive consumerism and materialism. People are very spiritual. So when you speak to them about, look, God is, for example, one of my favorite names is the inheritor. He is the inheritor, meaning you may be famous in this world, you may be, wealthy in this world, you may have all the friends in this world, you may have all the education, but guess what? When you die, it all goes, and God is going to inherit. But there's another name that goes with the inheritor, which is the preserver. Why? Because if you do whatever you're doing in your life today for the sake of God, it's not gone. It's gonna be preserved by God, and on the day of judgment you're actually gonna see it. So everything that you do is not meaningless. It actually has a very clear meaning. So there's no God, no good campaign, I believe, is going to be one of the most unique campaigns, dawah campaigns, that is actually going on, that we've done in the last couple of years, and inshallah it's something that's going to go very far.
Okay, alhamdulillah. Okay, bro, just to summarize and recap what we discussed today. We touched upon the fitrah,
Yeah.
and then we touched upon the Quranic argument for existence, and you talked about the names and attributes of Allah. Maybe what you could explain quickly, if you can, inshallah, is how do we package this now, all these 3 things, in a discussion about God? Do you go start with Quranic argument for God's existence first, or then the fitrah, or do you start with the fitrah, then how would you personally package this when you're taking this out to the world?
The thing is,
1, 2, 3
go
points.
go to non-Muslims assuming the best.
Okay.
Go to them, and we believe as Muslims that the fitrah is within the human being, every single human being. So don't go with the assumption, oh, well, he looks like an atheist, so let me give him an argument, or he looks like this. No,
Okay.
just go in
You're not
straight.
going to debate with them, argue
Yeah,
with them,
just
go
go
in,
in
just
straight and say,
okay.
look, no God, no good. We believe knowing God is knowing good. And from what I've seen in my interaction with people really like that.
So we can actually start the discussion with this.
just go head in.
Right.
Say, do you know God? Do you believe in God?
Very simple, yeah.
And
yeah.
just go straight
Yeah.
in. And in fact, what you'll find is many people, they don't want to get involved in arguments.
Yeah,
They don't want to
okay,
get involved in
yeah.
this logic and that logic. They just want to connect with their Lord, and we can inshallah be the means by which that happens.
So it's, what I've understood from this, and inshallah I hope brothers and sisters who are watching this, is that sometimes we're thinking that when we're on dawah it's all going to be argumentation, it's going to be intellectual debate, but it's not. People will actually listen and they'll appreciate what you're
Of course
saying,
they will, yeah.
and they'll love it. In fact, we went on a campaign like you said last week. Alhamdulillah, I had the privilege as well to call people to Allah, and a lot of the times it was teaching.
Yeah.
It wasn't in a battle. Yeah, you get the odd conversation, you get the odd contention, but a lot of the times they actually agreed, and it was beautiful to hear. And these are people who've never heard about the names of Allah.
Yeah.
They've never seen this campaign. They don't know what ayah is. They don't know the dawah. So they really appreciate it, alhamdulillah. So brothers and sisters, don't always think, like Suboor said, that it's going to be a battle, it's going to be an argument, it's going to be a debate. Just it's a warm, compassionate call, just a smile, go out there and just learn a few names of Allah. Whichever there's 99 names, you've got a lot to choose from. In fact,
There's
if
100
you,
in the booklet.
we've got the booklet now. If you can learn all of the names, which is recommended, I think, by hadith, that's even better. In Arabic and in English. But obviously, you don't talk to someone in the street for half an hour, 99 names. Just pick a few names which you think are very profound, very powerful, and introduce to that as a dawah, inshallah. So, alhamdulillah, there you go. There you have it, folks. Another, hopefully, a beneficial live show for you guys. Again, if you have any questions, because sometimes it takes time to, I like to use the word marinate. You know, you take something and it's marinating in your head.
I like that.
So let it marinate in your heads. And if you have any questions, you know, this show will happen every week. Is it going to happen next week, team? Yes. Okay, mashallah. So special Ramadan edition. In fact, all next 4 will be Ramadan edition, inshallah. So tune in for next week's show, 6 p.m. GMT. That's England time, inshallah. Every Thursday. You know, so brothers and sisters, start sharing this, or start sharing the good news of a live show on Wednesday evening, inshallah. And because it's Ramadan now, I'm hoping that more brothers will tune in, inshallah. So, any final words from you? Advice?
This Ramadan, remember, what is Ramadan? Ramadan is the month of the Quran. But also what we need to keep in mind is it is a month in which we convey to people that the Quran is from God.
Yes.
And that booklet that Nadeem just picked up, it has 100 verses in it. So it's not just about reading the Quran, reciting the Quran, memorizing the Quran, listening to the tafsir of the Quran. It's also about sharing the miracles, sharing the Quran in the month of the Quran.
So brothers, this is ira.org, www.ira.org /God, G-O-D. Is the website to go to download this booklet, inshallah. I think it'll be either it is or it will be available very available very soon. Can they order hard copies or is it just downloadable? Do you have any idea?
They're all going to be available on the IRA shop, ira.org /shop within a couple of days, inshallah.
Okay, there you go, mashallah. Something to look forward to. Ramadan gifts for you. Brothers and sisters, jazakallah khair for tuning in. May Allah reward you. Bro, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Yeah, and end on that. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.